Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about how you can leverage BG5 to attract your ideal clients and also why Nuance, aka branding archetypes, are critical in creating actually a brand that's going to land and a message that's going to land. So, one of the biggest errors, let's just start right off the bat. I want to get this out there. One of the biggest errors that I see people make when they learn this information, I think, one of the first ones to bring this information out in the interwebs, is that this line, I'm going to show you where you find it. This line gives you your niche. It does not. It gives you the unique flavor or texture of your niche, of who you're speaking to. It gives you the unique flavor or texture of who you're speaking to, but it does not tell you ultimately what that person's problems are and who they're looking for. So this is a very nuanced conversation when we're looking at creating a niche. And one of the things I say to my clients all the time is you need the right, relevant, resourced clients. Nothing in BG5 is going to tell you, even branding archetypes, this is the right, relevant, resourced client. What do I mean by resourced? They need the money to pay you. I think a lot of good people, actually, I'm going to back it up one step. My hope for 2025 is good people that are going to do great things in this world and change, leave their thumbprint. It's so outlaw of me to say this, but leave their thumbprint on the world through the impact and the legacy they've created, that more of those people actually own what their business is about, which is to increase profit potential, which is to make money. It is not about content creation. Your free content leads people somewhere. It's not because you have nothing better to do in your time than create free content. It intentionally provides value so that you can help with execution in your offers. All right. I want you to write that down, because I also get a lot of people that are afraid of providing too much value in their free content. Your free content, maybe even your workshops, your opt-in, it provides the value to lead people towards your offers where you help with the execution. That's what people are paying for. Your expertise that allows them to shorten the gap in the execution and the results they gain from it. So it is a nuanced conversation when we are talking about niche, and it's multifaceted as well. We want to look at what's the right, relevant resource client. We also want to look at, I don't want to get too off track today, but those are the main things we talk about in Brand by Design 101. I would say if you are brand new to business or you've never thought about this before, my signature course, Brand by Design 101, is for you. If you take the BG5 brand archetypes quiz, you get a $100 off coupon code on the pay in full, which brings it down to $397 USD, which is insane. That originally sold for $999 when it was done live. So this is an incredible course, and you're going to learn this. Actually, learning your niche and how to identify your niche is a part of it. And let's start elevating the conversation around this. All right. And so if you take Brand by Design 101, you're like, okay, I get it. I see you. I'm understanding these pieces and I want to elevate. I want to get the nuances. I want to go deeper. That's the Brand VIP days, or the Done for You, which you need the clear brand first to do the Done for You, but that's the Brand Movement Accelerator. All right. So where are we looking in your chart? When you're looking at your body graph, where you want to go for the line of the client you are serving is past and future direction on the conscious side, which will be your north and south node. Now, you're looking at many things when you're taking this into account. I'm going to give you the one thing today. The one thing you're looking at is the line. Okay, so you can see here on mine, it's 44.2. Therefore, I am here to serve the second lines, which is the natural, someone that needs their genius called out. So number one, what you need to figure out is, forget about that for a second. What is the right, relevant, resourced client? Resource meaning they can pay me because I have a business. Okay, your brand is meant to connect with people. Your business is meant to increase profit potential, period. So first we want to look at the right, relevant resource client. You're going to learn more about that in Brand by Design 101 if you hop into that space. It's self-paced. Start whenever you want. Go as fast as you want in it. You're going to learn about that and how to find your right, relevant resourced client. You want to figure out who that is. And then we want to look at what is the number one problem, the number one pain point this person has. Human design is not going to tell you that. All right. So we want to start thinking like CEOs. Do your market research. What is the number one pain point this person has? And then we're starting to pull in the second line for me in my chart, right? Second line, past and future direction on the conscious side, which would be north and south node. There are multiple other places you look. I only incorporate those places when it comes to niche in one-on-one coaching because it gets too convoluted to try and put that in a course, and it gets too convoluted, and it's my expertise as well, and I honor my expertise. So we're looking at the second line, then we start to weave in that. All right, so this right relevant resource client, their number one pain point is this, and they're a second line. Well, what does that tell me about this person? This also tells me about this person that someone that needs to be called out. It's someone that things come naturally to them, and they might not even realize that they're missing something. They might not even realize how we can, for example, for me, increase profit potential in their business because what they do, they're just a natural at it. They're just so in their zone, in their genius. It comes from such a place of who they be that they can't see the ways they're missing out on profit potential and increasing profit potential. And that's ultimately what I do for my clients, right? We create a clear, consistent brand to increase your profit potential. And so when we're looking at it from the second line perspective, they're just, their job is to be in their zone of genius. Their job is to be them. Now, just because, and like I said, you have your right relevant resource clients, then their main pain point, do your market research. And then we look at the second line, and then I bring in the archetype when I work with my private clients. Why? Not every second line is equal. And this is where pop culture, human design does such a disservice to you and to the masses and to me and to everyone else, because it tends to take this paintbrush stroke and say, oh, because you're a second line, this is how you are. Because you're a generator, this is how you are. Or a projector, this is how you are. And it starts to put us in boxes. And one, when it puts us in boxes, it limits our potential. It limits what we're able to achieve because we're always operating from a label and the meaning we give that label. And we always default to the level of our identity. So not only does it limit us, but then it limits that second line. It limits how we see that person. That's why it's not the first thing I look at, and it's not the last thing I look at. And that's what I want to pull the thread on today is we do not want to just slap this generic label on someone and say, oh, my niche is a second line, so they're the natural, and then that's my niche. That's not a niche. You've created the niche. The second line refines it. And then we refine it even more with archetypes to say, okay, well, and now who is this person looking to hire? So we know their main pain point now. We know they're right, relevant, resourced, so they have the money to buy. We know that they're the natural, but who are they looking to hire? And this is an important piece because if we break it down, actually, let's start with the natural. Let's break down the natural a little bit, the second line. They have effortless gifts. They don't always see their own brilliance, and that needs to be called out. Now, one of the shadows of the second line is they're always waiting for the quote unquote right call out, which means they're never actually stepping out. They're never, their mind, their not self, the limitations and stories they've created causes them to always be seeking the quote unquote right call out. And because they're always operating through the not self, or if they are not operating from the not self, they're always chasing that. Okay. So, but overall, they are someone that needs to be called out and someone that doesn't necessarily see their own brilliant gifts. When we look at who they're hiring, let's contrast the outlaw with, let's do the outlaw with the Everywoman because they're so different. Let's contrast that. If we are looking at the second line, them as a human beings, they're not just the second line, right? They're not just that label. We don't want to put them into a box. We want to understand the texture, the unique problems, the unique thought processes, the unique experiences that this person has had. And that second line allows us to understand that more. We get to understand their psychology more. We get to understand their struggles more. We get to understand their dreams more, how they want to, for example, for me, grow their business more. Yet who are they hiring? And that's the next step that I help specifically in the brand VIP days and the done for you offers. So you get your niche in Brand by Design 101, my signature course. You come to me and let's refine it even more. And the only place it can be refined even more is privately, because we take so many pieces into account. I look at the whole of you. You should see the intake forms. It's like the intake forms are wild on those offers. And it's because it allows me to understand the whole of you, understand the whole of your body graph, understand your archetype, and bring it all together in conjunction with who you serve and what your vision is. So if we're looking at the second line, let's say they're looking for an outlaw. They might even be a second line outlaw, right? It's not like every second line is the lover or the everywoman because they're the natural. No, you can have a second line outlaw. I work with a lot of second line outlaws. So let's say they're looking for an outlaw mentor. They're looking for someone specifically that has a brand that's bold, unapologetic, challenging norms, not afraid to call things out. The second line response to that brand when they see an outlaw brand might be, oh my gosh, finally someone that not only sees my gifts, but helps me shake off these labels that have been holding me back. Or what has been reflected back to me multiple times by second lines that have hired me is finally someone that not only sees my gifts, but isn't afraid to call me out on my shit. That's something I'm told all the time by second lines that hire me. They would not be telling me that if I was the every woman archetype, because I wouldn't be calling them out my shit on my shit. I have shit too. We all have shit. We all have stuff. I wouldn't be calling them out on that in my content. It'd be a very different approach. Like I was saying yesterday in my video, we start with the archetype. Everything else is built on that. So my marketing would be very different. My brand would be very different. But the number one thing that second lines say to me is like, finally, someone not only sees my gift or sees me, but they're not afraid to call me out on it. Another thing I've heard a lot from second lines who have ended up in like brand by design or even my private work is I knew I was shitting the bed. And everyone else that taught BG5 or human design was justifying that by saying that you just lean back and wait for the right call out. But not you. I saw your messaging and I knew damn well I was shitting the bed and you were the one that called me out in your messaging. All right. But that's an intentional brand I've built where I not only understand the right relevant resourced client, I understand the main pain point. I understand their second line, which gives me insight into their psychology. I understand I'm the outlaw. And then I've built an intentional brand and marketing strategy to speak directly to those people that also appreciate that. Because I don't want to attract someone that is afraid to be called out. It just is not my style. I say it with love. I'm not being a jerk, but it's because I want people to get results. And I don't believe in beating around the bush or telling someone what they want to hear is an effective way to help someone get results. I just don't believe it. I don't want that from my coaches either. If I'm paying someone, I want them to tell me straight up what the issue is so I can fix it. So when we're looking at the outlaw positioning as an example, this is very much what you hear in mine. I actually said these words yesterday. I'm not here to coddle clients for the second line. I'm here to call out their genius while dismantling the broken systems that they've been stuck in or the broken patterns that they've been stuck in within their brand. So it's like, I'm not here to coddle you. You want results? You want someone that's going to tell you exactly what to do to get those results while also honoring your genius? I'm that person. Now, if we're looking, let's contrast that with, I think the biggest contrast would be the every woman mentor or everyman mentor. When we're looking at, if you don't have the results from the quiz yet, go to the BG5. It's in the show notes, BG5 and brand archetypes quiz. This is years in the making. It is one of a kind, first of its kind. I'm confident in saying that. You guys literally maxed out my Zapier level that I had in 48 hours. I was expecting it to be maxed out in a month. So amazing. You guys are loving it. The feedback's been incredible, but make sure you go to the quiz. Now, if you are an every woman mentor, that is your brand. That's the world you're building off of, is the every woman. Your tone is relatable. It's approachable. It's supportive. The second line response, when they come into your brand and they experience your brand, is going to be very different, right? The outlaw, they're like, oh, finally, someone's calling me out on my shit. When we're looking at the second line that finds and is looking for an every woman, every man brand archetype, they think, oh, finally someone understands me. finally someone sees me and makes success feel possible for someone like me. Now, there's going to be different language around, but you can feel the difference, right? It's possible for me. I can leverage my gifts in this community. I'm seen and supported in this community. And that person and what they're looking for is not, they might land on my profile. I've had some people land on my profile and then they're gone like within a day or two, right? Because they might be looking for the Everywoman mentor. They might be looking for the ruler or the magician. And it doesn't make me a bad person for being the outlaw. It doesn't make you a bad person for being the Everywoman. It doesn't make someone else being a bad person for the ruler or the jester or magician or any of it. We have to go deeper into who we are. That's the whole point, is to go deeper into who you are, because there's people that are only looking for you. People can replicate the tools you use. There's a lot of people, if you are teaching BG5 or human design or gene keys or astrology or mindset, there are a lot of people that can replicate you in terms of the tools. No one can replicate you as a human. They can try. I've had a lot of people over the years try. Take my branding, swipe my branding. 2023 is a horrible year for that. Swipe my branding, steal from me. The reason why my YouTube has very few videos is I took them all down because people were messaging me and saying, I love your content. I was taking all of it and translating it into my language and teaching people. And I was like, what? WTF? That is not what it's for, right? So people have tried that, but the reality is, guys, even if you are an innovator in your field, I have clients that are in the mental health field. They are pure innovators with directions that no one has thought of. Someone's going to be nipping on your heels. And sometimes it's not just because, they've seen what you're doing. They're like, oh, cool. Yeah, that. Sometimes it's just because the market's going that way. When you are an innovator, you are always a step ahead of the market. But the problem is the market's eventually going to catch up to you. You need to keep moving. So within that, and I say that in terms of even celebrities, right? When we look at Taylor Swift with her eras, you have to keep reinventing yourself to stay relevant, or you fade away and you're no longer relevant. Like, what was her name? Nelly? I'm Like a Bird? I don't know. Cool song at the time. Is she still around? Hanson? Mbop? Are they still around? No, because they didn't reinvent themselves and stay relevant. They stayed one-hit wonders. So there is an aspect of having to constantly reinvent yourself. That's the reality of the material plane. Ra, who said it all the time. The material plane is always adapted, or it's always mutating. Either you adapt or you die, which means the market, what people are looking for, is always mutating. So when we look at from this positioning, the one way that people can never replicate you is honoring the archetype of who you be, honoring who you are at the core. I could not say things that upset people. But it's also, if I do that, and when I've done that, where I don't call things out, which does upset some people. I've been called a pretentious bitch before online. When I don't do that, people come into my offers and then they're like, holy crap, she's not holding my hand. She's not coddling me. She's not telling me this is a great idea, even though it's a horrible idea and not getting me results, but I refuse to do anything else. And I just want her to tell me to keep doing the same thing and pat me on the back and say it's okay. And eventually, if I just lean back enough and hold the vibe enough, I'm going to make the money. What? Right? So it also creates that brand consistency, and it makes business so much more fun when you just get to be you. It really does. So I just wanted to use this example for you guys to really see. First, we want to look at, and Brand by Design 101 is going to do this for you guys. Go through the sequence and the archetype quiz, grab it for $397. It's such a steal. So that's going to help you get that foundation. What's your business owner's intent? What's your exit strategy? Build that powerful positioning through BG5. It is a BG5 like heavy course. It is primarily BG5 to give you the foundations. Get that powerful positioning. Learn what is my right, relevant, resourced client. How do I layer? So for me, again, it's going to be the second line. I'm looking at North and South Node in business. It's called your past and future direction on the conscious side or the personality side. How do I layer that on top? And then when we work together in a brand VIP day or the brand and movement accelerator, which is my new done for you offer, we're now layering different aspects. We're layering different aspects in your body graph to make that niche more clear. I always I always say smallest viable niche wins. And we're looking at how do we layer in your archetype so that your offers, your messaging, your launch strategy, your content strategy, everything aligns with what and who this person's looking for. So it's why I do a lot of unscripted stuff, right? The ruler, I would recommend a ruler to have more scripted, more professional, maybe professionally done intro and outro on your podcast. Follow a script so you're not all over the place when you're doing your lives or your content. I have mine intentionally where I follow threads and, we get a little bit off track and I get passionate about something and that's intentional within my brand. It's very intentional. Everything's intentional because I want to speak to that person that is looking for that second line, who's looking for someone that's bold and unapologetic in who they are, that challenges the norms, that sees them and honors their gift, but is also not afraid to call them out. And as soon as I get afraid of being myself, as soon as I start to dampen who I am, well, that second line that's looking for someone that's unapologetic and bold and not afraid to call someone out is no longer attracted to my work. And then I'm going to start attracting the wrong second line. So we're like looking for someone to handhold them and tell them it's okay to just lean back and keep waiting and just wait more and hold the vibe. Eventually you'll get the right call out. Whereas me, I'm like mama bird kicking the baby out of the nest, being like, you already know. So what is it? And let's create it. But if my content was afraid to call things out, why would they trust me that I can call them out or that I'm bold enough to call them out? And I've had a lot of manifestors over the years say that. They work with me. I'll never forget one in particular. And at the end, she goes, no one. And at first, I thought she was pissed at me. But at the end, she goes, no one has had the guts to so unapologetically call me out like that. I fucking love you. And at first, like, there were times during the call, especially the manifestor, because you can't really read the aura, right? Where I thought, oh my gosh, this woman hates me. And she's never going to talk to me again. But at the end, yeah, she's like, I fucking love you. Because I was the first person that wasn't afraid to call her out and wasn't afraid to hold that space for who she is and her fullness. So anyway, guys, I'm wrapping it up there. But this is a really important nuance. So if you're looking for who you serve in your chart, it's going to be the line on personality side, north and south node, conscious, unconscious, past and future direction is what it's called in business. And again, we want to layer it on top of it. You already having the right relevant resource client, you already knowing what their biggest pain point is, sell pain points, not vitamins. And then we layer on the BG5 and then we go deeper with the archetypes. So let me know what you think. And I'd love to hear what archetype you got from the BG5 and brand archetypes quiz. Drop your archetype in the comments and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.